target market is clear and how it will be implemented is also certain. The time frame for existing systems to embrace the ISO, which is the interoperability layer, is also set. Just the SWIFT is lagging a year behind. And that is an opportunity for fintechs. As we know, different payment systems are being implemented and they are all targeting the interoperability layer by Q4 of 2021. We can look at November 2021 for that one. The banking herd jumping from the top of the mountain into RippleNet will come like an unpredictable typhoon, that's for sure.
So I think the disruption will come because the technology is attacking every piece of the value chain. And the difficult point is that by the time it's obvious what's happening, it will have happened.
So unless it's done, you won't know that it happened. That is an area where the fundamental analysis help you to stay relevant in the investing firm, right? When all of this is happening, now we are getting to see a rising power challenging the existing power, which is China and United States of America. And Ripple, being an American innovation and a system which abides by the regulations, it's soon becoming the digital gold. And becoming the digital gold or crypto gold is inevitable for XRP. Considering all of its specification, it will become that. And a lot of money will be entering the crypto market without much of a delay, and that is for sure, right? So the fundamental of this asset class is understood, and as the fundamental is rising and the market cycle is kind of bottoming out and starting a new market cycle, it is certainly a good area to accumulate for the institutions and the retailers as well, in my opinion. Considering the previous all-time high and the current price, this should be a good buy. We are 90% down from that, right? Now the fundamental pillars of this particular asset class is increasing day by day. And this asset XRP is being concentrated by many of the innovations. As we can see, as we just saw in last video, PayID was kindly connecting different aspects and linking that to XRP ledger. At the same time, the infrastructure is being built for this asset class and the regulations are becoming clearer and clearer. So when the regulations are hitting the floor, at the same time, we are getting a new market cycle. That's going to be huge. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you saw value in the content, please do hit that like button. And if you would like to support the channel and the research being executed here, you can use the links given in the description for Patreon and PayPal. If you would like to get more value, you can use the Patreon link. Patreon will allow you to get additional value for your portfolio. Now, jumping into the first one, which is showing you the target market, cross-border payments. Now, this is actually a tweet from Fed Payments Improvement, and it shows new payment infrastructure at the end, which is E, and public and private sector commitment at A. Even if you link both of them, it's not like dot connecting and all, because we already have all the information. Say in the last couple of months, we went through a lot of high level documents from corporates, governments, IMF, World Bank and all. So it's easy for us to understand what this actually means, because when they talk about the regulatory, supervisory and other clarity for cross-border payments to promote safe corridors, we kind of understand where they are actually heading, right? And at the same time, they are looking at ISO 20022 in implementation without much delay. And this particular chart, this is actually tweeted out by Akil Rao, and shout out to him. He kind of gave us a perspective like this, in which we understand 2021 Q4 is the start of ISO fully fledged use, including rich data. Now, what are the other payment systems coming into this? If you look at that, you can understand the Canadian thing, you can understand UK, US, Europe, Australia and other networks coming into this one. And if you look at it now, based on the accessibility of RippleNet, one thing is for sure, the correspondent banking network relationship in between these countries and the emerging markets are reducing, and RippleNet is now established in Asia, Far East Asia and these regions as well, to allow them to use this technology without incurring much more fees using the correspondent banking networks. Now, as we just heard in this particular video posted by Real XRP Boy, the tipping point is closer to us. But the problem is we won't understand unless the herd of banks are jumping from the top of mountain. And when they do, in my opinion, the price would be shooting high. And why that is so? Because we are entering the new market cycle that is near and closer to us. We don't know when it will start that, but we are sure that the near term we can actually see that. Why? We have already made the bottom, assuming that the previous bottom we made around 0.12 stays relevant, and the current trend after crossing the 2.5 year of resistance is going to push high. At the same time, when we look at the economic situation around the globe, we can understand central banks are trying to push the economy to the upside. But based on the health crisis and the economic crisis led by the health crisis is kind of being pushed down. This particular tweet from Ripple highlights how you can actually use regulation to overcome the current situation. You can actually stay at the top when China is trying to go above the US can come out with clearer regulations. Other blockchain technology companies like Circle and all previously stated directly in front of US regulators that you are not giving us proper regulatory clarity. We are not kind of trying to go beneath the table of regulations. Instead, we are just looking for regulatory clarity, and that's the reason why they are looking to move to different countries like Singapore, Switzerland, and other nations where they have that clarity for regulations. So businesses and the investment go where they have the clarity for regulations, because they won't take that much of a risk with their huge money. For Latin Americans, financial institutions, long-term success runs through public cloud. Now, previously we saw about the currency cloud, PayID, and the cloud networking using RippleNet. The partners or the customers of Ripple are now able to do that. Now, when the technology is going into this manner, everyone would be adopting that. Now, this is looking at the scalability and the performance of the cloud systems, which is well known for its scalability. Now, as it provides through that general API gateways, we previously saw the gateway API using an example from Volante Pay, and how Ripple's API can be used to execute these payments. Now, as we talk about the cross-border payments, the existing payment systems infrastructure are kind of so aged based on 3 decades, 4 decades old system. But the new payment infrastructure arrangements here are looking to give us that arrangement in a central bank digital currency era. The point 19 says factor an international dimension into central bank digital currency designs. So when the central banks are designing the central bank digital currency itself, they are looking at this digital assets era. Because on point 18, they start talking about fostering the soundness of global stablecoin arrangements. They are looking to use this technology and foster the innovation. They are not kind of trying to push this down. So as we see the fundamentally sound changes happening in the industry, we understand that they are coming in. Now, the Standard Chartered Bank, if you go and look at the Ripple's website, you can understand they're the partner of Ripple, the company, and we went through Standard Chartered Bank's research documents previously in, say, last 2 weeks. We went through them, and even last couple of months we had many documents from Deloitte and other banking institutions, IMF, and other documents, which kind of highlights the next generation of payments using open banking, digital assets, the new technology, embracing the interoperability layer is here. And as we enter into the ISO 20022 implementation, ILP implementation becomes inevitable. That becomes necessary for majority of the financial institutions. Now, when I say that 90% of the financial institutions around the world are small institutions, they are not huge like Citi, JP Morgan and all, but these small institutions rely on the Citi, JP Morgan and all. They pay fee to those giants to serve their customers. Now, if a system, a technology like Ripple is enabling them, now this is the fundamental side, don't get confused with that, they will automatically come into this one for sure, because actually this is providing them extra benefits by which they can expand and get more customers, make more profits without paying those huge banks like Citi, JP Morgan and all. Now, this document is highlighted by Coining 203, more regarding the OCC regulations. Now, that's a beta document showing what we were looking at previously. Now, in one of the document, there are different companies who are trying to kind of give suggestions based on that previous OCC's uh, advice. Now in that particular one, if you look at this, Ripple Labs Inc. is also providing their side. Now if we just look at the last 15 days, no, if you just look at who all are there in that, it's kind of a big name from Consensus to Community National Bank. Everyone is talking about what? Holding digital assets. So when these banks are coming out giving them an proposal like we can do like this, we can use like this, Visa Inc., these are names which are really important in this particular area. Now we went through the BitGo Holdings proposal for the OCC along with the Ripples, right? Now we just saw Mastercard International, Visa, Blockchain Association, Consensus. Everyone is kind of giving input to OCC. So soon they're gonna come out with a bit more clarity, a bit more clear regulation, which will provide that amount of clarity which these guys actually need to execute or start that crypto nation. And in this crypto nation, as Brad just highlighted, this is gonna be the gold. In the new country, in the new economy, we are going to see new type of assets which will be there for investments. Why? The old guys, we are not disrespectful for them. They still believe gold, and even majority of us, some of us will be having 5%, at least 5% or below with the gold and silver portfolio. But millennials and Gen Z would be looking at digital era, the central bank digital currency era. As we look for next decade, we won't be looking just on gold, right? Yeah, gold would be playing a role in the next economy, but for sure we would be looking at a digital era. Now different analysts are calling for different prices, and we understand that, but one thing is common in that is we are entering a new bull run, whether it can be $100,000 Bitcoin or a $500,000 $300,000 Bitcoin. Now that all points out that investors are coming in. Now, if you just look at the United States of America, you understand the derivatives market is booming. Money is coming into the market from that particular side. And as we see all of this investments coming in to buy Bitcoin, the reason for that is they are allocating it for Bitcoin and Ether, because SEC previously stated clearly for BTC and Ether. So there is an existing regulatory clarity for institutions to jump into that one. So if we see prior movements in BTC and Ether, don't be surprised. But one thing is for sure, even last time without these regulatory clarity, just the retail investors pushed the price to a level where the return on your investment from XRP was majority or was the best considering all other digital assets. Now, along with the institutions and retail investors considering all these fundamental change, this time it can be even better than that. But that's not saying like BTC, Ether and others won't be giving you profit. If you hold them in your portfolio, that's good for you. That's a different story. But I believe in like all eggs in one basket. But the issue is just make sure that the basket you chose for your investment is the right one, because when you're starting a race, you should be having that horse which will be the winner. And now that's completely based on your cognitive ability to understand what are the positive side, the merits of that particular horse you're choosing for this race. And if you're so sure about that particular ride, then make sure you are patient enough so that you would be getting that profit. Because if you don't complete the race, then there is no meaning of saying I reached to 100 kilometer per second in 3 seconds. That doesn't actually count if you are not completing the race. Only those who reach at the top, new all-time high, would be able to make majority of the profit. Now we'll look at the charts for that. Imagine you entered the market somewhere here, you have your average around 0.006, and we are 3 years back in 2017 bull run, just before that. And think you entered the market and you saw a push like 900% to the upside, and then immediately draw back like 40-50%. So from that price point, if you are looking at your portfolio on a daily basis or an hourly basis, and you can see like your portfolio going 1000% up, and then suddenly it goes back 50%, so that reduces your total gain to like 500%, and you would be tempted to take out your profit. Instead, if you were waiting, you would be getting another 1000% from that bottom. Or if you are looking at from the initial area which you are considering, you would be reaching around 6000%. So that's a huge difference, right? Say you were here, you bought it, you were tempted, and you took out your profit here. That doesn't count. And in the same way, if you were taking out your profit, instead of at this top, say you saw a price depreciation or a pullback of 60-65%, and you're tempted again, no, the price may go down, I want to just save my profits, you would be taking out your profit. Now, even at that point, profits are profits, it's not bad, right? You're still having 2000% of profit. But the thing is, those guys who waited from this particular area to the top would be having like 50,000% in profit. Now, that is just considering the end of the market cycle and start of a new market cycle in 2017. But think about the guys who actually came in watching that there is a new low here, considering the same previous market cycle. This was the previous low, and then again it made a new low here. So if those guys who are accumulated here, they would be smart money. We can call them the smart money, because if they considered from this particular point to the top, as we discussed previously, it's like 140,000% of profit. Now, that is the kind of profit when we are talking about when we are making this low here, say 0.12, 0.13. Even if you weren't able to get your profit or get your positions at 0.12, but you kind of average your position down to somewhere around 0.15, 0.16, or at least 0.17, that would make sense. Now, why I say that? Because if you actually zoom out, say just take out that same 140,000% from the bottom here till the top, and kind of consider that you didn't actually make it till that particular bottom there. Instead, you came around here, say 0.17, then towards the same all-time highs, that still would be 93,000 in percentage in profit, right? So if you are to get that profit, you still have to wait and go through all of these time frames, fluctuations. The market may actually tempt you in different ways. Now, yeah, these are kind of confusing, but you shouldn't be confused. That's why we go through this kind of crypto education, right? The financial education to invest in crypto, understand what happened in the history and what is coming ahead. Once we understand that particular pattern, we should be able to keep the temptation away and focus as kind of, the smart money always does. So guys, that's all for today. And if you saw value in the content, do support the channel, hit that like button. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. I'll meet you guys with a new video in the next day. Bye for now.